How do you actually manage living on an extremely low income? And the main idea of this video is not to tell you to live on a low income or to help you to learn how to live on a low income forever and be frugal forever and be poor forever, but instead, this video is about how you can survive on a low income and the better financial habits that you should start developing right now so you can actually move from living on this low income to getting to the things that you want and then living a better lifestyle. So we're going to talk about a bunch of things in this video, but the main idea here is how you can use a low income or an extremely low income and still beat the odds to get to the things that you want and eventually stop living on that low income and actually get to living the life that you want to live. And by the way, guys, having a low income or an extremely low income is relative because, for example, I'm in Florida, and if I'm in Florida and I'm making, let's say, $50,000 per year, then that may not really be a low income. It could be around average. However, if you're living in LA, then 50K per year would more likely be a low income because you wouldn't be able to do a lot with that. So we're not going to be using any particular income or income range. We're just going to say extremely low income, and of course, this is relative, and then depending on where you are, you will know what an extremely low income is. Now, with that said, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, if you want to see more videos like this, and also be sure to subscribe with the notifications on. That way, you never miss the updates of when I post new videos. And if you guys ever want to talk to me one-on-one about this or just about anything else that I talk about here in the channel, you can message me on Instagram. I'm leaving that link down below in the description. But that said, let's talk about how you can get the things that you want if you currently have to live on an extremely low income. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to create a budget. And before you click off this video and you leave and you go somewhere else because you're saying, well, Ian, I know what you're going to say. I know you're going to say I need to create a budget. I need to list my expenses and I need to list my income. And I know exactly where this video is going, but here's the thing. Yes, you want to create a budget, but you also want to make some decisions, and you want to make these decisions based on where you are right now and not where you think you are. So, for example, there are a lot of people that will have, let's say, credit card debt, for example, and they have this credit card debt and they have this awesome idea that they should be investing in the stock market because they can make a lot of money that way. So they'll continue to make the minimum payments on their credit cards, and all the free money or all the extra money that they have left back every single month, they use it to invest, and they'll say, Ian, I'm investing because if I invest this money, I'm going to get 10% or 12% on my money in returns every single year. And yes, that's true. Yes, they're going to be getting 10 to 12% every year, and they're making money, but they're also losing more money than they're actually making because the interest rate on the credit card debt that they have is 24% or 26%. So basically, at that point in time, investing wouldn't really make any sense. It would be much better for them to just pay down their high interest credit card debt. And so if you skip to investing at that point in time, then you're just making a financial decision based on where you think you are, but not actually where you are. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create this budget, and on this budget, you're going to have your wants and your needs, and that's what you're going to be primarily focusing on. And I can actually make this really easy for you. So your needs are going to be three things. Your needs are going to be your shelter, food, and transportation, and then maybe utilities. So maybe it's like 4, but those are your 4 needs, and then everything else. And once again, before you click off this video, before you say, Ian, I know exactly what you're going to be telling me, I'm not going to tell you that you need to cut your Netflix subscription. I'm not telling you that you need to cancel your gym membership. I'm not telling you that you need to recycle tea bags. I'm not going to tell you any of that stuff because most likely you won't do it because it's not fun and nobody wants to do that stuff. But instead, I will say that you should try to do the same things that you do right now. You should try to pay less for everything. So for instance, take me for example. I was using AT&T and they used to charge me around $65 for phone service. I switched to Mint Mobile and now I'm paying only $25. So I'm saving money, but I still have the same service. So the main idea here is you want to always be making sure that you're getting the best price possible for anything that you're going to be purchasing and that you want. And you're doing this with your wants because for your needs, maybe you're not able to get a cheaper place to live in. Maybe you're not able to lower your utility bills because that's not something that you can actually control. Maybe you can't lower your cost of transportation, but the things that you don't actually need, instead of giving them up, just try to do them and just try to do the same things, while always trying to find a cheaper solution, and that way you pay less for the exact same thing. Now, the next thing you want to do is kind of like figure out where you you are, and you can use like Dave Ramsey's baby steps for this. And basically the main point here is you don't want to get ahead of yourself. So for instance, if you have absolutely no money saved up, but you just paid off all your debts and you're completely debt free, then before you start investing, you may want to save an emergency fund. And that way, if you have any unexpected bills, that way you don't go back into debt because you don't have the money. So you want to save some money and you want to have your emergency fund, and then at that point you want to start investing, and then you want to start paying down as much as you can on the house that you purchased and get rid of all that debt in like 10 to 15 years instead of 30 years. Now, the reason you're doing it like this is because if you're able to live on an extremely low income, you're able to do it like this, then you'll also be able to avoid debt, and you'll also be able to pay down your house and invest a small amount of the money that you're making, because even though you're on a low income, you don't have most of the things that hold a lot of people back. Think about it, right? If in 15 to 20 years from now, you don't have a mortgage payment and you don't have any debt, at that point in time, even if you're still on an extremely low income, you'll be able to do most, if not all, the things you want to do, because you don't have the two main things that hold people back, which is a mortgage payment or rent, and also consumer debt. Now, here's some tips that you can actually use to help you while you're doing this. And for instance, one thing that a lot of people struggle with is impulsive spending. And one thing that you can do is actually giving yourself a certain amount of time before you actually make any purchases. So for example, the new iPhone 14 is coming out. If you want to purchase the new iPhone 14 when it comes out, then you want to create this rule where anytime you want to purchase something, or you want to spend some money impulsively, or you think you need something, or you're just not sure whether it's a need or a want, then all you got to do is give yourself 72 hours, which is roughly 3 days, to think about it, and then you can make that decision. And usually, if it's a want and not a need, if you think about it for 2 to 3 days, then you'll come to the realization that you don't actually need this, and this is not a necessity, it's just a want. So that's one thing that you can do to stop yourself from making impulsive purchases, or purchasing things that you think you need when in reality you don't need them and you just want them. Now, the next step is obviously comparing the prices of items before you buy them. So for example, this is like going to the supermarket. You have one particular brand of an item selling for 10 bucks, and then the exact same thing with the exact same ingredients is selling for like $5 in a different brand. So compare the things that you use and always try to get the cheaper option without skipping out on the quality. Now, the next thing is doing fun stuff or fun activities. And this is where you may tend to overspend, but fun stuff doesn't actually have to cost you anything. And there's a lot of stuff that you may enjoy doing, which is completely free, won't cost you anything, but you just don't know that you would enjoy doing these things because you've never tried it before. So it's like when I first started cycling. That's completely free. I don't have to pay anyone to go cycling. And so I met people while I was cycling, and I made friends. And the reason I started cycling was because I wanted to be doing more cardio, or just doing more exercise every single week. And so I started doing cycling, and then soon after I realized that I actually like cycling. And even if I don't have anyone to go cycling with, I'm still gonna go cycle every single week by myself because I actually enjoy it, and that is something that's also free. And this is something that I do at least once per week now. So the main point is, there's a lot of stuff that you can do for free that can be fun, and it won't cost you anything. If you already know what these things are, then that's good. You can just go ahead and start doing them right now. And that way you don't have to spend money on entertainment or going out, or you can try new things. They probably have like some website for something like this right now. Probably you can go to like funthingsToDo.com, or maybe there's like some social networking website where you can meet people and do fun free activities. So you can look that up, but you want to start trying new things that are free, and maybe you'll actually like some of this stuff, and that way you have something to do for free, which is fun. And this way you don't spend any money on entertainment. Now remember, you're doing all this because you're on an extremely low income, and there are two other things that you can do. And one, you can ask your employer for a raise. So if you've been working at this company and you think you've been doing a really good job, then you could approach your employer and you could say, hey, I think I've been doing a really good job. What do you think about giving me an increase or maybe a bigger bonus this year? Or maybe you can ask your employer what are some things that you can do to help the company, and maybe they'll be able to give you like additional responsibilities, and that way you can get a salary increase. But if you don't want to do that, or you don't think that's going to work for you, you could get a side gig or a part-time gig, and this way you can actually spend some of your free time making money instead of using all your free time to do fun stuff, which is probably going to cost you money. Now remember, you're in an extremely low income, and the more money you can save and the more money you can earn right now, the faster it is that you do this, the faster it is that you'll get yourself to moving away from living on an extremely low income and living the way you want to live, because now you won't have all the debt and all the bills holding you back. Now, I know this video is titled How to Live or How to Survive on an Extremely Low Income, but again, the point here is that if you're in a situation where you're living on an extremely low income, you don't want to stay there forever. You want to get out of that situation, and so getting your expenses as low as possible and your income as high as possible is the only way that you're going to be able to get out of this situation. And the faster you can do both simultaneously, the quicker you'll be able to stop living on an extremely low income, and that's the main idea here. So with that said, all the best, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next one.